Hi, everybody. My name is Charmaine, and I'm the registered dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes. And I have our program participant, Andy, here. You can say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. And Andy is in our Reversing Diabetes program, and we're very excited to have him on here since he's been seeing amazing results. So Andy, first question is, how did you find me?
I think I could speak for a lot of people. I found you on TikTok and
Mhm.
just doing some research and just trying to figure out what diabetes and what all it entailed with. And just got on TikTok one day and just try to find out other ways to fix diabetes. And then I saw your videos and I just got into a rabbit hole of just watching all your movies and videos. And I just wanted to reach out and join the program.
Awesome. I love that. And it's so cool that you're able to find me on social media. And what would you say is one of your biggest motivation or why to start, reversing your diabetes, start changing your lifestyle? I know you probably have a very busy schedule. So what made you, have the motivation to start doing this?
Well, it started because I went to the doctor for just a checkup. I wasn't feeling well, so I just decided to go, and they did some blood work, and then I got some numbers, and just based on my profession. So I'm a nurse, but
Mhm.
I've seen what diabetes causes in your life.
Mhm.
What's the end goal with diabetes? What
Mhm.
happens to us, and that to me motivated me because I didn't want to be another statistic. I didn't want to be another number in that.
Mhm.
So I decided to take my life into my own hands and make my own research and invest my time to research and just really understand what diabetes is and find ways to fix it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure, as a nurse, you've been able to see a lot of the consequences of diabetes that you don't want to see. So therefore you want to be able to nip in the bud and not have to
Mhm.
worry about in the future. Is that correct?
Right, right.
Got it. I love that. Can you describe your journey since you started reversing diabetes till now? What have you learned? What have you done?
Well, my journey started, I think, like most people, scared, intimidated. I think comes with anxiety and just confusion and just a lot of emotions. That's how mine started. But
Mm-hmm.
it's changed. It's changed drastically. I've seen improvements on my health, on just every aspect of my life. It really has changed for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot of things as far as like eating, just understanding how diabetes works, and just even looking at the numbers and seeing how foods in your diet is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to do with medication. It's to do with what we eat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I really learned that diabetes is very much distorted in
Mm-hmm.
how we're educated on what diabetes is. I've just learned what it really is and how we could take our
Right.
own lives into our own hands.
Yeah, I love that. Can you share a little bit more about what you mean by a lot of times it's distorted in the medical world? Because I have a medical background. I've also worked in hospital settings and I see the same thing. But I'm curious, as a nurse, like, what do you mean by that? What were you taught, and how are things different for you specifically once you learn about insulin resistance and things like that?
So I would say diabetes, unfortunately, just how the medical world is, just unfortunate. It is told to us by the doctors, and the doctors themselves also essentially try to teach us that diabetes is a one-time thing. You get it, and you're with you for the rest of your life, and it's not. And that's a lack of education on both parts. Mainly the patients. We hear what doctors tell us, and we take it for to be set in stone. Doctors are human, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We should always research. We should also take second opinions from doctors. Diabetes is one of those things where it's a dietary disease. It's not so much a
Mm-hmm.
metabolic disease, which it does turn into a metabolic disease, but
Mm-hmm.
it essentially starts with a dietary disease. We cause
Mm-hmm.
ourselves to develop diabetes because we become resistant to the insulin. And like you always say, we
Mm-hmm.
don't find the root cause. And unfortunately, medication doesn't fix the root cause of what diabetes is. Like I said, it's a dietary one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and we're always taught, especially when I went, it was a February 14th when I sat in the clinic and they told me, this is your A1C, which was a 10.6.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no discussion of what can we do to improve it. It was an
Mm-hmm.
automatic, I'm prescribing you this metformin, go pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's already at your local Walgreens. pick it up tonight so you could start on it. There was no education. There was no, this is what you could do to reverse it. And I'm just one other person that they've done that to. Metformin and insulin, every year it increases, and millions and millions of people are constantly added and put on metformin and insulin, but the rates hasn't changed of people being, it's still getting bigger. So medication doesn't fix it. So that's one of the things that I've seen, that medication isn't taught, and there's not a lot of research out there that people want to put out to the public. So that's why I always say, take your life into your own hands and do the research and investigate. So that's what I mean by it's been a little skewed. It's not forever. It's something that can be reversed. 100%.
I love that. Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of times too, what I've seen, in the clinical setting is some person will start with metformin, and then, maybe their A1C is improved because, metformin does lower your blood sugar. But as time goes on, their A1C starts creeping up. They have to add more medications. They have to add, glipizide or eventually insulin. And, it becomes a vicious cycle. And I love how you're able to share your perspective of, wow, like now I know I can change my lifestyle, but at the doctor's appointment, nothing was told to me that I can do that. And I think now as a nurse, you can share it with other patients how you are able to reverse your diabetes and educate them that way. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think my goal always as a nurse is to advocate for my patients and advocate for people. And that is one of the things that I want to advocate for people, that diabetes isn't forever. Like you said, you'll start with 50 milligrams of metformin and you'll end up in insulin if you don't tackle the root cause. And it's something that you always say in your videos, but it's true. It's the root cause that people aren't focused on.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Andy. And what would you say are some of your results that you've seen in your own personal journey when it comes to reversing insulin resistance?
So I think the main one that I was probably more excited about was weight loss. Not so much an intentional weight loss, but it was a weight loss that came easiest. And I think this has been the easiest time in my life that weight has come off so easily without having to spend hours in the gym or be frustrated because I have to go on a walk or push myself to go on a walk. Like, I'm enjoying walking, I'm enjoying running, just changing the way I ate. It just hand in hand, like you lost the weight. And obviously the numbers have changed drastically. So I started with my first A1C when I was diagnosed. It was a 10.6. And I just checked it. I got it done yesterday and it was a 5.9, which is great. I guess it's still technically considered pre-diabetic. But from a 10.6 to 10.9, that is a huge
That's
win.
huge.
That's a huge win. So my average 10.6, I think it averaged around 250 your blood sugar, and now it's averaging at like 124 if you, based on the chart. So that's one of those numbers. I've seen like my morning fasting blood glucose has been in the 80s and 90s, where before I even started the program, it was like 110, 120, and I'm like, oh, why is it so high in the mornings? But it's changed. It's drastically changed.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. And it's true, with the weight loss part, I didn't tell you in the beginning when I turned on the camera, but you definitely have lost a lot of weight. Like I could tell, from your face as well. And it's so cool that you're able to enjoy the benefits of weight loss. I think a lot of times, I know we talk about reversing type 2 diabetes, but a lot of it is weight loss as well. And it does tremendous things to your blood sugar. And I love that you're able to enjoy the process and not have to struggle. And, I used to weigh 30, probably 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And it is the most effortless I've ever been to keep my weight in a healthy weight. And so I totally understand with, there's days that I used to count calories, or I used to do low carb diets, but I would just struggle. And I feel like this is something that I love so much because you don't have to struggle. You eat till you're full. You have so much more energy where you can, go on walks, you can go on, runs if you want to.
There was like one of the other things too was just sleeping. Sleeping has been I've gotten way better sleep. When I wake up, I'm not groggy. I know when people used to tell me that they'd be on diets and they're like, oh, you sleep better and all that stuff. I'm just like, oh, it just sounds so dumb saying this stuff. But I mean, I've seen those changes.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping better, waking up with more energy. After eating, I remember after every meal, I'd be so tired. I just want to take a nap. And
Mm-hmm.
because my insulin, my sugar was so high, my body
Mm-hmm.
is trying to fix itself. And I eat and I have energy to go exercise or go on a walk with
Mm-hmm.
my family. So it's been so amazing, the
That's
changes, the
crazy.
other changes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it doesn't just help with one thing, right? I always tell people
Right.
that's why I love this so much because it just helps with everything. It helps with your inflammation, it helps with everything. And, again, 10.6 to 5.9 is just huge. And this was, February, 3 months ago. So definitely congratulate yourself. I'm sure, in a month's time, you'll be way under 5.7 for sure. And you definitely have reversed your diabetes. So that's exciting. And now we see the numbers, how would you comment on the mainstream of going on like a keto diet, a carnivore diet when it comes to diabetes? Because a lot of people are told, especially in a lot of like Facebook groups or social media, they're told that, a carnivore diet is the best way to go. So how would you comment on that now that you've seen the results?
So I would highly discourage people to be on a complete carnivore diet. Like it's not,
Mm-hmm.
that's not okay to do. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the research one of the medical journals that I read was our liver, having a fatty liver is one of the huge components to being
Mm-hmm.
insulin resistant. Um, when you lose weight, when people go through gastric bypass, which in itself
Mm-hmm.
that's not a cure for it. So don't be that the first choice.
Don't
But
do it.
the plus of losing weight and exercising and losing that fat, especially around, like you always say, the gum on the keyhole.
Mm-hmm.
Our cells are so saturated with fat. With
Mm-hmm.
carnivore diets and keto diets, those are heavily set with high
Mm-hmm.
saturated fats, definitely a lot of fats in it. And that's why people tend to be like, oh, I can take the metformin, I can eat something very sugary or something fatty. You're not fixing the issue. You're still
Mm-hmm.
eating those high fat meals, high carnivore meals. It doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge meat eater. I love meat. I
Mm-hmm.
like steak. I like chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I incorporate it with my meals, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember Kara one time told me, don't let the meat be the biggest portion of your meal.
Mm-hmm.
Let meat be like an accent to everything else in a
Mm-hmm.
smaller portion.
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoy eating steak. I still
Yeah.
enjoy eating chicken, especially during the holidays or birthdays, but eat those legumes, eat those
Yeah.
greens, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the areas where there's those blue zones, that's what's high in those blue zones. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if people know what blue zones are, where people have longer
Mm-hmm.
life and better health. So
Mm-hmm.
those areas, legumes are a huge thing, greens, exercise. And that's what we should be adopting. But
Yeah.
here we don't do that. And that's the
Yeah.
unfortunate part about it.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love what you shared about your blended approach because I feel like a lot of people are scared when they hear the word plant-based, right? They're like, I'd rather not go plant-based and, it's okay if I don't reverse my diabetes, right? But I think a lot of times it's really a mindset thing because it's not really about being vegan, being vegetarian. I tell people this all the time. Even if you are vegan or vegetarian, if you don't eat healthy, you can still develop type 2 diabetes, right?
Absolutely.
There's actually tons of people or tons of my clients that are vegetarian all their life and they still have type 2 diabetes, right? So it's really about eating whole and processed foods and making sure that it's high in fiber and it's not necessarily about following a vegan or vegetarian diet. So thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Mm-hmm.
think the key is that don't think of this as a diet. I think when people say diets is like a short-term kind of thing, it has
Mm-hmm.
to be a complete lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really want to be able to make lifestyle choices in order for
Mm-hmm.
this to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to kind of loosely use the word diet because people just like, oh, it's a diet, or they tell me, oh, you're on a diet because you're eating healthy. No, I'm just eating like I should be eating. And you
Right.
guys are eating like burgers every single day, fries. That shouldn't be a thing. Like that
Yeah.
shouldn't be the norm, and that's why our
Mm-hmm.
perception has been so offset.
Yeah, yeah. I love what you said about the word diet because diet should be a neutral word. Like it shouldn't be like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like go on this, 7-day juicing diet or, go on
Yeah.
this, 500-calorie diet. Diet is literally what you eat, like what your dietary pattern is, right? And I think a lot of times we see the word, oh, you're on a diet. We think that it's something that's not natural, it's short term, but I loved your emphasis about no, like this is a long-term thing that you do. This is something that is sustainable. And I think that's very important as well, right? Like I'm sure you, as you started, you wanted to have a blended approach so that you'll be able to, one, of course, reverse your diabetes, but also be able to keep it that way, right?
Right.
Like you said yourself, like you are a big meat eater. Like it's unrealistic for you to never eat meat again, right? And what would you say to someone who is on the fence for reversing diabetes, would you say?
I would say don't think about it too much. You know, if there's anything you need to invest in, is invest in your health.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't invest in stocks, or you don't want to invest in a car, or people are worried about it, that's the one thing you should invest in. It's invest in yourself, invest in your health, invest in your life, and invest in your family, because a lot of people are not just silos. You know, you're also connected to other people, and you know, invest in yourself. That activity and wanting to better your health, it goes to other people. You know, people see the improvements and do it. You know, don't be intimidated by the word diabetes. You could easily tackle it. Diabetes is not a monster that you need to be overcome by. It's something that it's caused by us, and we could easily fix it. So invest in yourself and don't be scared, and just do it. You can do it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing, Andy. And I love what you said about investing in yourself. And I know growing up, my dad always told me, you know, the best investment is when you invest in yourself, when you invest in your education, in improving yourself. Because when you, like you said, when you invest in stocks or when you invest in, I don't know, crypto or whatever, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen, right? But when you invest in yourself, you know that it's going to take you somewhere different in life. And I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd want to share with our audience?
No, just I was happy to have joined your team, and you have a great team and such a great program. And I encourage everybody to be a part of it. If you want to see true results and positive results, and results that will be for the rest of your life, is do it now.
I love that. I love that. And I just love hearing your story, Andy. You know, you are someone that started from seeing me on TikTok, and now you're able to see your life change. And I'm sure you're going to change so many more lives because of your profession as well. So thank you so much for trusting in us. And for those of you who are interested in what we're talking about behind the science of reversing diabetes, what Andy was talking about, the gum and lock, make sure you watch the free reversing diabetes training. Link is in the description, and I will see you guys there. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.